Welcome to the webinar about MechWorks PDM managing your SolidWorks configurations. My name is Glenn and I'm your presenter today. Just a little bit about MechWorks. MechWorks is a PDM company with customers worldwide. We have been providing PDM since 1998. PDM is our total focus, allowing us to provide the best-in-class PDM. MechWorks allows for users to have complete management of configurations. MechWorks provides a concise record of any changes and states of your configurations. Users can use and create configurations with confidence that MechWorks will provide the management and history needed. So what are we actually going to look at today? We will look at how easy it is to create managed configurations using a design table where they are automatically registered into the database. We will create and add configurations the standard method without using the design table, both managed and unmanaged configurations. We will show how you can manage which fields are aligned with the associated brother configurations. We will show how users accomplish total revision control of the managed configurations. We'll look at configurations in the engineering control process. And then finally, we're going to look at managing the state of your configurations. For instance, how to define obsolete configurations. So now let's go over to SolidWorks with MechWorks PDM seamlessly integrated within it. Here the user has SolidWorks open and also the MechWorks PDM browser, which is seamlessly integrated within SolidWorks. And the user is going to start off with this single managed configuration here, and we're going to add some configurations to this. So the user is going to go ahead, first of all, and check this out. So here we have the part. And the first way of creating the configurations is we're going to use the design table. So the user will go to Insert, go to Tables, Design Table, and in here we're going to use this thickness here, which is this, and select OK. So now the user is going to add some configurations to this. So the first one the user is going to add is going to be called 01, and we'll make it 0.25. The next one the user will call 02, and we'll make this one 0.375. Then the user will add one more here, 03, and we'll make this 0.5. These will be added to the MechWorks PDM, and you can see here that the user is being informed that they have the new configurations, 01, 02, and 03. Now, if the user goes to the configurations here, you can see 01, 02, and 03, and the original default parts. So now what the user wants to do is create the drawing for this part. So just like normal, the user will go to File, make a drawing from the part, select the template they want to use, and we'll select this one. And these templates have all been pre-configured by the administrator. We'll select OK, and we'll just drop that in there like so. And then what the user will do is select Save. And because this template has been pre-configured by the administrator, when you select OK on the record card, it's going to populate the title block area and the relevant information on this drawing. So now what the user wants to do is actually add that design table to this drawing. And we can quickly do that. Go to Insert, Tables, Design Table. It's going to put it over here for us. So we'll zoom out real quick, pick up the table, drag it, put it into the drawing. And there we go. Now we have the design table on the drawing. And now the user is going to go back to the part here. So as you can see, we've now added these 3 new managed configurations. And of course, obviously they're managed configurations because MechWorks PDM is managing those configurations and they're recorded in the database. So if we quickly go to the MechWorks browser, and we can move this over a bit. So here you can see the original managed configuration and the 3 new ones that were added through the design table. Also, if we select on a document over here and we go to configurations in this grid down here, you can see it's going to list those configurations as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we'll just close this and we'll go back to this part. And now what we're going to do is add some configurations using the standard method. So just like normal, user would go in here, add a configuration. Now, based on the numbering and the naming of these configurations that has been configured by the administrator, by using certain numbering criteria, in this case the 05, we'll select this, it's going to know that you want to add this to the database. It's going to be a managed configuration. And we can just quickly go in here, make it look different. There we go. And we'll select that. So now we've added 5 and we can go back into here. We can add a configuration and this time we'll add 04. It's going to let us know 04 has been added. And we can go back into here. Right, while we're here, let's just change this. Let's put that in there. If we go back to the MechWorks browser, here you can see now we have the 5 new configurations and the original managed configuration. So these are all managed configurations. So let's now go back to this part. And what we're going to add now is an unmanaged configuration. Now this is the case where maybe you want to look at some kind of concept or you have some sheet metal and you want to show it folded. You want to have a configuration, but you don't want a database record for it. So again, we go up here and the user will select Add Configuration, and this one we'll call it Concept. And we'll select this, and perhaps we'll do a quick change on it. And we'll make this one 2. There, so now you can see we have concept here. And if we go back to here, we'll select Save. So now you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 configurations. 6 of them are managed and 1 of them is unmanaged. So again, if we go back to the browser, we can see that we have the 6 managed configurations, but it's not going to list that unmanaged configuration. Also, because of the way this is being configured, it has the same part number, but it's going to designate the different configurations by the 01, 02, 03, 04, 05. The description is the same across all of them because this is being configured by the administrator so that the description is the same across all of them. Okay, so now let's go in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to check this in. So let's go back here. So let's just go to here, and we'll go back to here, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and check this document in. Now when we check it in, there's a couple of things here we can do. First of all, we can add a description of exactly what we've done. And we can quickly put into here, added 5 managed configs and 1 unmanaged. And we'll select OK. And we'll select OK. So now if we go to this, you can see these are all checked in. Now the other thing the user can do here is, if we go ahead and check this out again, you'll notice I'm selecting just that first managed configuration, but as I'm checking it in and checking it out, it is checking in and checking out all of those configurations. And the other thing the user can do here, we go to the record card real quick, and we go to the configuration revision. Here's where the user can have full control over these configurations. For instance, if we select any one of these configurations and go to edit the document record, we can go into here and we can modify some information that we need to modify. Perhaps we can go into here and add the material. So we'll say stainless steel. Select OK. We can go in there and edit the revision record. So in here, this is where the description of that revision that we did. So perhaps we can have in here select OK. The other thing the user can do is to go into here and assign the configuration revision. So this is the document revision, and this is the actual individual configurations revision. So for instance, I could go into here and say this was added in revision 2, and we can go to this one and we can say this one was added in revision 2 too, and so on as we go through all of these. And we can say the original one was revision 01, and then select OK. So now we can save this, go back to the MechWorks browser, and we can move this over a bit. There we go. So you can see here that the physical files revision across all of these is a revision 02, whereas the configuration specific record configuration has been set by the user so that the 5 new ones are added will be a revision 02, and the original managed configurations revision will be show at 01. So this is helping the users to define when each individual configuration was actually modified or changed or something noteworthy about it. As we discussed and saw earlier, with MechWorks PDM, the administrator can define which properties or fields must be the same across all of the managed configurations. So to look at this, we'll select any one of these, this one here. And if we go to its record card, we can see in here that we added the material earlier, which has been defined that it must be the same across all of these configurations. Also, the treatment must be the same across all of these configurations. So if we go to the drop down here and we select a treatment, brushed, and we select OK, then if we go to any one of these, and we can see the data up here, we can see that the treatment has been added to all of these configurations. Now, on the other hand, if we go back to this one, and we go to the record card and we say go to the notes. We can add in the notes here something, and the user can then go ahead and select OK. Now if we go to any one of these and we go to the notes, you'll see that that note is only in this configuration. So the administrator did not configure this system so that the notes must be aligned across all of the configurations. This provides great control over your configurations. So not only can you control the revisioning, the configuration revision, you can also control which fields or which properties are aligned across all of those configurations. Another thing we can look at here is that if we go to, say, this configuration here, and we'll go to the preview so we can see what it looks like, we can say, okay, on this configuration, we don't need it anymore. So now the user can go into here, go to the edit revision, go to the configuration state, and go in here and say that this one is obsolete and select OK. And then if we refresh that, you can see now that it's showing that this configuration is obsolete, which allows you to show that you don't need this configuration anymore, but there's still a record of it here so people can see what it was and why it was created, or put a reason in there why it was obsoleted. In fact, we can go into here, go to the edit revision, go to the notes and say not needed anymore and select OK. So now on this particular one, again, go to view data, you can see it's not needed anymore. This one here, the note says for company do it. All right, so the last thing we're going to look at here is how configurations are handled with the engineering change process. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the engineering change process. There is its own webinar on that, which I strongly suggest you all look at. But just quickly, just to show how easy MechWorks PDM handles the configurations in an engineering change process, we'll select this document here, and what we're going to do is go through and we're going to check it in. And while we're here, make sure we have this in here. Okay, we have a note, and we can say okay. That'll be the same for the drawing. We'll say okay, and you'll notice that it checked in all the relevant configurations of this file. So now to release this to manufacturing, on this system it has been configured that it uses the engineering change process. So the user selects the document, we'll go to Lifecycle, and we'll create a new IR. This is the initial release. So this is going to present the user with the IR form, and these forms look very similar whether you're doing the initial release or a change request or a change order or a change notice. Makes it very easy to learn and understand what's going on with the engineering changes. But you'll notice here that it's going to list all the documents that are involved in this. It's got the drawing, it's got all the different configurations. So now what the user can do, put a description. There we go. They can assign a user to this, and we'll assign this guy Glenn. You can provide a priority to this. And these forms, like everything else in MechWorks PDM, is configurable. So your administrator can configure these forms to have the information that you need. Right now, this is a brand new form, and it's going to show this green border around it, which is letting everybody know this is a brand new form. As soon as the user selects apply, this is saved, and it's going to have this yellow border around it. The yellow border is showing that this is saved. It's in an editable state, so whoever needs to do any changes to this can do the changes to it. You can also add attachments to this. So for instance, a user could go in here and say, I needed some kind of document to go with this. So we just select any one we have up here, and we can drop that into this IR form or any of the engineering forms. And you can see here then that somebody can go in here and open that and see what information is here. In this case, it's showing a nut. So let's just go back to the documents here, and we'll select any one of these configurations, and we'll select this tab, configurations, and you can see here it's going to list all the configurations that is part of this file. And we know that number 5 is obsolete, so the user could go in here, select that, and if we go back to the documents again, we'll select one of these, go back to configurations, you can see that number 5 is not checked. That means that it's not part of this engineering change. The user is controlling these configurations in as far as which ones should go through this approval process and which ones are not. And so at this stage, obviously the user could go through and submit this to a workflow. And again, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in these engineering change forms because they are covered in its own webinar. But you can see here's a workflow for this one. These are configurable. And this one would go to the engineering lead, then go to manufacturing, and then go to the process controls. And as it goes through, each person has the opportunity to reject it, say, nope, it's not ready yet, or they could kick it out of workflow and terminate the IR or the EC stage that it's going through, or they could place it on a manual hold. The placing on the manual hold would be, say somebody needs to go and check up some facts, investigate it. They would place it on a manual hold so everybody could see why it's still sitting there. Or they could obviously go through here and approve it. In this case, it's going to go into manufacturing. Now remember, each one of these is either a person or a group of people. This can be configured so that you could have group meetings where each department would sit in a room and they would go through these one at a time and have an electronic sign-off. As it goes from one state to the next state, it's going to automatically collect the signatures. This is by Glenn. This is the day and the date and the time. So it's always going to record the information that is needed for each approval. The other thing real quickly here to note is that as it's going through this workflow, you'll see this red X here. This is showing that it is going through the approval process. People are looking at this, trying to decide, yes, this is good, no, whatever. So therefore, you don't want anybody going in here and actually trying to change this document. And MechWorks PDM has made it so that, and if we close this, has made it so that anybody, if they go into here, you can see they cannot life cycle these documents as they're going through that approval process. So the user is going to quickly go back to this IR so we can use these configurations, and we're just going to quickly go through and push this through the approval process here. This user is just going to be everybody just to get it to go through there. We'll close this. So now we can see that these have all been released. So the next thing we're going to quickly look at here is that using these configurations inside an assembly. So for instance, if we go to this assembly here, the user can go into here and do a search for the part that we're looking for. And you can see they've listed them all here. So the user is going to pick up one of these and add this to this assembly. And perhaps they'll add another one as well. There we go. And the user could then go ahead and save this. So now if we close this assembly here, go back to the MechWorks PDM browser, and we'll pick another one of these assemblies. And again, we can do a search in here for one of these configurations. And we'll say this one. We'll drop that in there. Save this to the MechWorks browser. So now if we go to the configurations that we created, we can see that this main one is just in the project. But if we go to the configurations and we go to say this one and go used by, we can see that that configuration is used in 2 assemblies. Now if we go back to the configurations again and we go to this one and we go to used by, we can see that's just used in the 1 assembly. So MechWorks PDM makes it very easy and very quick to see everywhere that a specific configuration is used. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the PowerPoint and finish up the presentation here. So here we are back in the PowerPoint. And the first thing I want to quickly talk about is technical support. As with any software, the technical support is key. First of all, PDM is what we do. It is our total focus. Our technical support staff have years of experience with PDM. They attend training on all aspects of their required skills. Our training is accomplished at various training centers or through training courses we purchase. Now, these include, but obviously not excluded to, training on the MechWorks PDM, the Microsoft SQL, Learning.net, Microsoft operating systems, all the CADs that we are integrated with, and the Microsoft Office products. MechWorks PDM has technical support offices across the United States. This allows us to cover several different time zones. We are ready to provide help if or when you need it. Now we look at all of our customers as our partners. So obviously our first goal is always to fully understand and satisfy your organization's needs. Now we want to share with you our 20+ years of PDM knowledge. Obviously our success is based on understanding your challenges and meeting them. It is our clear goal to accelerate your design cycle with a secure environment that promotes design integrity and to help you become successful with your document management needs. So what did we look at today? We looked at how easy it is to create configurations using a design table, where they are automatically registered into the database. We created and added configurations with the standard method without using the design table. With these, we created both managed and unmanaged configurations. We showed how you can manage which fields are aligned with the associated brother configurations. We showed how users accomplish total revision control of the managed configurations. We looked at how the engineering control process fully provides for configurations within that process. We showed how you can manage the state of your configurations, even defining obsolete configurations. So I want to thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, please let us know. We would welcome the opportunity to provide full product demonstrations. We can show the areas to highlight the specific needs of your organization. We have videos on our webpage. You can look at these videos of the webinars in your own time and take your time to go through them and understand our product fully. So give us a call at 1-800-573-6183. See us online at www.na-ips.com. You can email us at sales@na-ips.com. So again, thank you for your time. This is Glenn, and until next time, goodbye.